Now, a few years after the introduction of the tax stamp policy, players in Ghana's textile industry are voicing their frustration over its lack of implementation. Initially hailed as a significant measure to curb counterfeit products, the policy is yet to be executed, contributing to the industry's gradual decline. There is more in this report.
In 2022, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, under the leadership of Alan Kojo-Kyerematen, introduced the tax stamp policy to combat counterfeiting, aiming to protect the local industry and increase the government's revenues. The policy mandates that only genuine wax prints be imported into the country, requiring that all imported textiles to enter through a designated corridor and also be affixated with the tax stamps to ensure the authenticity and proper taxation.
The legislation on tax stamps has already been launched and currently it is operational. Now we've agreed amongst ourselves that beginning from the 1st of June, that the Ministry of Finance will start engaging all the industry players on the introduction of this tax stamp in the textile sector. So that's the first substantive agreement that we have come to. We believe that apart from making sure that government also earns the revenue that it deserves from the textile trade, it will also be one of the most significant measures introduced for us to be able to regulate the trade in this sector, particularly in the markets, in the retail sector.
However, despite its introduction years ago, the government is yet to implement the policy. This delay has drawn criticisms from various stakeholders, including major local textile producers. Sales manager at one of Ghana's biggest textile brands, the Textiles Ghana Limited, formerly GTP, Emmanuel Kisi-Debra, speaks to me on the policy failure and said the imitation of fabrics does not only reduce the sales of genuine products but also damages the reputation of retailers who strive to offer quality goods to their customers.
This is basically one of them. So you see our Safwa, our offer currently. This is the tax stamps that Ghana government introduced somewhere around October 2022. It has the green borderline, right? So this is for locally manufactured products. If I go to, so this is our Vlisco. This is actually imported from Holland, our head office. This has the red borderline. So this is basically what is imported in. Every imported textile is supposed to have this. So based on what the government introduced. But then they have not been able to successfully launch it for all the manufacturers and then importers to be able to have it in the trade. So basically, if you go to the market right now, about 70% of the products you see on the market don't have this. We have been putting the tax stamps on it since October 2022, and we still are currently doing it in April 2024. So those are some of the things, the difference. So we are importing, but every fabric that you see from the market, whether the ones we import, which is the Vlisco, you see the tax stamp on it with the red borderline. The ones we produce within and GTP, you see the green borderline tax stamp on it.
So practically speaking, when somebody goes to the market, when I see this tax stamp, it means that it's original?
Currently, yes. I mean, you will not see any copy or any of the other brands that have the tax stamp on it. It's not being, because it's not being enforced yet. We are expecting the government to come in. They have started with some, they said they are going to do some adverts in April and in May so that they will start the enforcement, but we are still waiting for it. It hasn't started yet.
Retailers too are bearing the brunt of the delay in implementing the policy. many have reported significant losses due to the prevalence of counterfeit products in the market.
Some of the inferior goods which end up in the market, usually before we had task force going around, but now there's no task force. So these women are compelled to bring these goods into the market without any restrictions. So if the government can also look at that part, and it has made business very difficult for us these days. Because yeah, it's affected because the foreign ones, the cheap is cheap price-wise, and well, it's not of good quality, but in our market, people are looking for more of affordability before maybe perhaps quality comes in. So it makes business very difficult.
In an interview with Citi News, tax analyst Geoffrey Okansi mentions that the implementation of the tax stamp policy is crucial for the survival of the industry. Additionally, he speaks on the revenue which could be generated from the tax stamps.
So you have to get a standing task force. You shouldn't do a 9-day wonder. You should have a standing task force that will be there to check that system where you have a stamp on them. These stamps, you have to also, the quality of the stamp is very important. Train the persons, let them be aware of which stamp is the quality one from the office, and have machines to scan. You need to be in the market consistently to ensure that, look, these, the points, the sales points of these materials are known. And, you can also do investigative works, like going to where the people sew. You can even go and then randomly talk to the people. You just want to scan that material, who bought that material, not to punish that person, but then get some information. By the time you are through with the dressmaker, you get the customer who actually bought the material. You know some of the sources. This is a quick way to just get to the sources where these materials are smuggling. We have a porous border system. People can smuggle in the illicit ones. So once you have a stamp system, like we were doing for the tobacco industry, that's how the checks happen. When you do and get the monies from these checks, the punitive measures will be there. The penalties that you apply on them, when you get the money, you use the money to reintroduce into the task force. And the task force must be every day in the market. There are people who will be doing online sale, so you would say that will create a problem. But even the online sale, you can also order some of the online sale points once, and then that's how investigation is. It's not a one-day thing.
Despite the clear benefits of the tax stamp policy, the government's inaction has left many stakeholders frustrated. But who is to blame? The former Minister of Employment and Social Welfare, Austin Game, reviews the loopholes in the system.
The things don't come and jump into Ghana. They're either passing through one of the borders, or by air, or by ship. So do we have people in the Tema port, Takoradi port, observing? Because these things come by containers. The little that may come through Togo and other unapproved routes are extremely minute, but can be policed also, because we have both the customs and immigration people all over the place. What kind of mindset, what kind of culture, what kind of orientation do they have that they are there and they are being paid by the state, or are being paid by the body that is supposed to oversee them, that they cannot do their work well? Who is their supervisor? And who is the sector minister? That's why I don't even want to talk about it, because if I were to be in charge of, let's say, Ghana, it will not happen on my watch. We need watchmen to watch the watchmen. That's what it is. But we don't need to police. Textiles is a too small market matter. It's too small a matter. And we've sent people in numbers to markets. They even go seize them, sometimes bend them, sometimes destroy them, and yet we are still crying. So what do we do? A strategy must be put in place.
The uncontrolled smuggling of fake textiles into Ghana is doing a great harm to local producers here. Now, what the manufacturers want is for governments to implement the tax stamp policy to help eliminate these fake textiles from the market. Well, they believe that the elimination would help promote and also boost their businesses. For Citi News, Kwesi Aotre, Accra.